Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask Ben W, the video series where I get to tackle one question as I walk from my parked car to my office in Denver Public Schools. Today I would like to take the 12th day of Connected Educator Month to answer a question that is reflecting on the Leadership Symposium for Google Apps for Education, which was held last Friday in Boulder at Monarch High School, a lovely high school in the Boulder Valley School District. I enjoyed the time there, but wanted to reflect on a question that I think might be important for bigger reasons than just talking about Google Apps for Education and professional development in general. And the question is this: when is it okay to lecture in professional development? When is it okay to have the single person standing up giving a presentation for, let's go with longer than 15 minutes? I think I'm going to separate out a little bit the direct instruction side of things, where literally there is some piece of knowledge that is really important to disseminate and can be done in a mini lesson kind of way, where you have a piece of content, you need to get it out, but that there is some grappling that's going on and that people are going to discuss or develop or create using that piece of content. So I think direct instruction, probably we can just set that aside. I'm talking about true lecture, where there is some personality up front and there is a time period that is longer than, that 15 minutes. So the reason why I'm asking this question is because we had probably more of that on Friday than maybe we typically would. I think in many new professional learning experiences where we're really trying to avoid that, and I did what I normally do, which is, stand up and, move around, and I, make the learning experience to be what I need. I do some back channeling and I do some multitasking, all with the guise of sort of digging in deeper to the content that's being shared. But the broader question still remains: when is it okay to lecture? And I guess I've been wrestling with this, as probably most people have, because I actually do get something valuable out of those moments when someone is sharing the whole of their idea and not just a smaller chunk. But the problem is, it's very difficult for me to compare that to what I would get out of it were we to have a series of activities that actually develop my understanding and allow me to grapple with it in a broader way. It's very difficult to compare what would have been had the people that were speaking on Friday simply, developed a series of activities or of exercises that would allow us to dig deeper. And so the question of when is it okay to lecture, I guess, probably breaks down for me at it probably is just when you do the calculus in your head, and maybe even talk to a whole bunch of people about this, when you do the calculus and you say, this is the best way for people to dig into the thinking. This is the best way for everyone within this audience to develop this understanding. And if you have made that calculus and you have said, this is the way we need to do it, then I think you embrace it, and I think you make it inspirational, I think you make it engaging, I think you make it funny, and I think that's where we had a lovely keynote speech on Friday from Jonathan Mooney, who wrote The Short Bus and talked at EdCo 2015, and you know, it was something rather special to have him come and speak. But he spoke for 30 minutes and then had some Q&A, and the Q&A was very much, you know, him responding to a couple of questions. It wasn't anything sort of bigger or broader than that. But you know, it was still the conscious choice that he was making to lecture for those 35-40 minutes. And that made it so that we couldn't do some of the other activities. And, you know, I do wonder about that. Like, okay, so he has made the calculus that the way in which his message is going to be heard best and is going to have the most traction, and the way in which perhaps even he is going to get called upon to have these conversations more often, is simply that he should talk. And I felt very similarly, you know, some of the district folks that were there, they made that same calculus. But I think it's troubling when we look at that that calculation that you are doing and saying this is the best way to do this activity. And I worry if our calculations are wrong. And so I like that sometimes we turn to people telling stories and people talking about the things in which they are most passionate about. And I like that that's where we turn sometimes. But with the level of frequency that we keep on turning to it, I think it's kind of troubling. And I wonder if we need to look at maybe a different equation, a different way in which, hang on a second, this is a lovely little bit of graffiti here I think is worth capturing. And so, you know, I guess what I would leave you with is, you know, what is the equation that makes sense for professional learning? How is it that we might add up the sum of, add up all of the learning that we want to happen? And if it doesn't add up to a lecture, if it doesn't add up to somebody talking at somebody else or somebody's, then we shouldn't do it. And we should look for other alternatives. And so that's where I'll leave you as I am walking up to my building. It's this one here. If you'd like to ask me a question, please do so with the hashtag AskBenW. And I'd love to learn with you some more during Connected Educator Month. Have a great day.